Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Spooked Coast to Coast. And we are live today, folks.
Yes, not a pre-record.
No, not this one, not this one. And as always, thank you for tuning in on the last Sunday of Halloween month. Representing Jenny's representing the Michael Myers themed Halloween shirt. And as promised, the very last episode of the month, and I have a Halloween Horror Nights shirt. It's from this past Halloween Horror Nights. It's from the house of Jason Lives. A phenomenal house. If you guys don't get a chance to experience it, there's a thing called YouTube that we actually present this show on that you can actually do a walkthrough of the house and see its amazingness in person. But with that being said, we have a special day today to celebrate. We have Joey's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday in the chat room to Joey.
Everybody say happy birthday to Joey in the chat. Oh, you guys are on mute, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I put in a post.
Guys. And as always, Jen and Monk 305 Paranormal. And chat room, thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. We got Brandon. We got Brother Joe there. We got Shannon.
Team Coco is with Chris and Audra. Thank you guys for tuning in. Also, nice, they're on the way to a cemetery. I know that. So I was like, why don't you just turn us on and listen to us while you're driving? What's up, Chidi?
Hey, Chidi.
What's up, everybody? Welcome.
Ashley Michael, what's up?
Thank you for the happy birthdays.
Justin as well.
Justin, thank you for being here. Good to see you, my friend.
Hello.
Hey, Vic.
Everybody's trickling in. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And we have an excellent show to wrap up Halloween month for you guys. And babe, why don't you tell the good folks about our guests that we have coming on?
Yes, so today we welcome James Annitto, demonologist, paranormal investigator, and now author of 2 new books that will be coming out one Halloween day, so the end of this week, Friday, and one next year in 2026. I kind of want to say, I think it's March. He will let us know. Investigating over 20 years, holds a bachelor in psychology, and is currently working on his master's for this, and then we'll learn more. Let's bring on James.
And huge Star Wars fan.
Yes, I am. And happy birthday, Joey.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Very welcome.
James, welcome. Thank you for being on with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Let's start with, I guess, how everybody always starts with, we got more happy birthdays for you, Joey. How did you start in the paranormal? Was
David,
it
what's up, bro?
Something like as a child? Like, how did you go into the paranormal field?
To loosely paraphrase it, it was nothing to do with seeing things or experiencing things. It really was childhood trauma that set me on a journey to kind of discover higher power, what I would call God, because I am a Christian. Really that kind of adventure to figure out if God exists or not. As I tell most people when I was a kid, I like to say I was a Darwinist. I was really into evolutionary biology, which is called neo-Darwinism nowadays. So really that journey, searching for a higher power because of what I went through as a child. And then that kind of segued into a lot of other rabbit holes with ghosts, demons, angels, aliens, unseen forces of any kind, the paranormal umbrella in general, even cryptids. It's kind of really what led me down the paranormal pathway.
Oh, nice. Cryptids. Okay, so I'll ask you something about that later. I know you work in construction, so I kind of wanted to ask you something about that, because actually a friend of ours in the chat, Chris, he's also in construction. I know it's like, I forget what exactly. I know windows is involved, but how would you say your daily job working in that field actually help you with residentials and like how people might think there's something's wrong in their house, and maybe it's not, maybe it's something,
I'm actually
Totally
shocked. It's
normal.
probably one of the first few people that have ever asked me that, and in that correlation. But actually, it helps quite a lot. One of the things is especially with my job, I am in the MEP field, which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing. I have a license in sheet metal, which is HVAC. And I also have a plumbing background, but the company I work for currently right now does all three. I am the project manager and estimator for both plumbing and mechanical, commercial, and light commercial and industrial. So I've been in over a decade, 13 years now. And so, really, what has led me to understand is I've been thankful enough to be in a lot of old homes in both Massachusetts, Rhode Island, old universities, mansions, things that old mills. So I kind of understand what the dilapidation and what certain mechanisms of what will happen in old locations, like infiltration of air, so things can be moving, even though slightly or more than you think so, even with air movement, um, and which is lack of ventilation, levels of floors, doorways. Throughout the time, I picked up a lot of carpentry things. Used to help a buddy out that used to own a carpentry business, frame pieces, frame additions, build stairways, so I can understand levels of things, of course. So a lot of also being mechanical and plumbing, um, carbon monoxide poisoning, radon, stuff like that. I have a great understanding of all those things. So I look at a lot of these things when I'm in somebody's house or somebody's business and seeing what can add to the element of what they're experiencing. I think that something could be going on, but a lot of these natural things could add extra layers to it that, of course, heighten the experience or make them believe the experience a lot worse than what they're actually dealing with, if anything at all. But yeah, my construction background, a lot of the analytical ability of what I'm looking at in a location, and it's important, especially if it's the house has to be haunted and not the person being haunted specifically. So yeah, no, you'd be surprised a lot of the places that I've been into. My company used to do the service for Lizzie Borden's house in Fall River, and I could tell you things about that place that, I'm not going to say it for legal reasons. I don't want the owner, but I'll just say, we don't do the service there anymore. But yeah, before the owner bought it, there were certain things I could say that might add to elements of things. But a lot of these places that are tourist destinations for us paranormal investigators or ghost hunters, that you'd be shocked of what could be causing you to believe there's something paranormal in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially like high EMF, like
Yeah.
electricity or
Yeah.
oxygen or something, and then people like hallucinate.
Yeah, like, and a lot of the devices we use, I'm not a big fan of most of them. Like, I understand them. Like, I have a tech background originally. I actually went to college and vocational school in high school for IT and computer programming and networking. So I get a lot of what these devices are applied to use. Like, and so on top of it, when we're doing like static electricity, like with REM pods and stuff like that, or temperature changes, we a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, and because I've had a lot of experiences, and I'm not crapping on any of these people. It's just that sometimes that information's out there and people just don't are negligent because they just want to believe so much, right? Which is fine. I'm not telling people not to believe in specific things, but static electricity. This is an HVAC thing. If I'm 98 degrees and your room's 68 degrees, as soon as I walk in, I build static electricity because there's a temperature change. There's two temperatures fighting in that environment, and static electricity is automatically built up in the environment, and then there's temperature changes as well. So we forget these things. So a lot of what I do in the construction world do most certainly 100% applies to the paranormal realm.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
There was one instance. It wasn't electrical or anything here, but there was last year. Like, say, example, I think it was an animal. It was in our attic, and I remember telling him at first, and I was like, "Man, I don't know, something going up there, making noise and stuff, and like whatever." And he was like, "Well, I hope it's haunted and not that we need to send somebody up there because we don't got money to send somebody up there to get like a dead animal. And I was like, I'd rather be a dead animal or be like an animal and not be haunted. Like, what the hell? So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what everybody in the chat. Would you rather have haunted or house issue that you probably can't afford? I don't know.
And surprisingly, most people would want it to be haunted as well because it's for some reason the easiest of explanations is just like let's go the right way, like not even just bare right. Let's go like 180 and let's like screw it, it's haunted. But you'd be surprised, a lot of people actually fold that direction more than anything. But also that is an evolutionary thing as well, physiological reaction, fight or flight. We've had that since we've really started hunting or developed, is because either we think something in the brush is just wind, or we think it's an animal. We'd rather be defensive and be ready to defend ourselves instead of die by just ignoring what's in that bush. So most people automatically, through evolutionary purposes, or automatically think it's something worst case scenario, right? It's a demon, it's a spirit, because that is the worst case scenario. How can you get rid of those things? Like with the least dead animal, if you don't have the money to call, you really could just like do it yourself at the end of the day. Like it sucks, like taking a dead animal out of your attic, it's nasty as all heck, but and skeevy, but but what would you rather have? And that's a great question for your chat for sure.
Yeah, I'd rather have an animal. Something
I'd
I can
rather
take.
have a ghost.
Then I gotta be like, I gotta figure out how to take that shit out. And
oh my god, have you smelled one? Oh,
that's awful.
Best case scenario is what ended up happening. We
died.
ended up no. Because they went up there.
Oh, that's true. We didn't have our roof done.
We had to get our roof done shortly after. And they sealed all entryways. There was nothing in there. There was signs of something up there, but there wasn't anything up there. They sealed everything, and we don't have that situation anymore.
Yeah, it would come in at night. Not every night. Sometimes it would be every night, and then sometimes it would like go away, and then like you would hear it back again. I'm like, damn, this thing is back, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And they don't know what kind of animal. There's no evidence of an animal being up there.
Oh yeah.
It was one of two. It's either the cute little thief animal,
a raccoon,
yeah,
or a possum.
It makes sense. It's not statistically true. So if you look this up, from what I've seen, I'd say in most old houses, anything, of course, built before 2000 that doesn't really have a lot of tight insulation and siding, most houses have a 90% chance of having outside animal come in, either possum, rodents, birds, squirrels, or chipmunks and stuff like that. You'd be surprised how much a common occurrence it is.
You know what? Here we get like a lot of iguanas. Because in South Florida, there's a lot of iguanas, and then they live up in the trees. And then if you have trees, people have mango trees close to they grow really tall, and by your roof and stuff like that, they will come inside your house. So
oh hell no.
Big old lizard. Come on.
You're walking.
Or your turds. You gotta hope it doesn't poop on your.
I can say I've never seen an iguana turd, so I'm just saying. I've never seen iguana poop, man.
Wouldn't know what that looks like.
Yeah. I know you were. I think correct me if I'm wrong. Is it a case maybe that you did that was featured in an episode of My Ghost Story? It was called Demon Shadow. Was that?
How the heck did you know that? But yeah, I didn't appear on it actually, and it wasn't my case, so to say. I was called in as a consultant.
Okay.
But yes, it was a case, My Ghost Story. It was Demon Shadow, and it was a case at this time. It was a group called ECPRT, East Coast something. It's been so long they're not together anymore. But it was Frank Soltis and oh gosh, I can't think of his last name. But yeah, so they were dealing with the case with this guy called Willie, and he's a big Beatle memorabilia collector, and he was having some experiences, and one of the craziest pieces of evidence that they caught was this whatever, 7 foot tall, the size of a door frame, maybe a little. It's probably a door frame is probably anywhere from 6 something to 7 feet, depending on the doorway. So it really encompassed. They had a DVR camera setting up towards the doorway, the threshold, and as you see this dark force, the shadow person, walk past the door, walk back, peek in, and look at the camera, and then dissipate and disappeared. But I was involved in that case after and before, and I felt weird about that case. I would say that was something really demonic in the sense of an infestation. Nobody up possessed. Willie at times would feel oppressed and become negative, and but really was more infestation at the oppression stage. But that's actually the very first case that Father Bob and I worked on. I actually got him involved to do a deliverance of the property, because when I realized it was a demon, I was still very, very young in my career of doing this. Even though I had experienced possession before that, I still, if I had, and at that time, me and Father Bob used to get lunch together, and this is like over 10 years ago. So I said this would be a good case for me and him to work on for the first time, and I really wanted to learn from him because he is a Roman Catholic priest with a background in deliverance and dealing with darker cases, and I love working with people. So I was like, okay, this is a perfect case. And then we were at the house, and one of the craziest things I will remember, and I actually don't talk about this much because people don't bring it up, and it escapes my mind. But we were all sitting at the table talking to Willie, and I forget his wife's name, but I was wearing a rosary, and all of a sudden I felt something drop in my lap, and the other people heard it. The rosary got severed at the metal and dropped right into my lap. So the crucifix fell, and I picked it up. I said, Anybody hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we heard something." And I was like, "That's what it was." And I was like, "Holy moly!" That was really the biggest thing that ever happened to me when I was physically there, beside feeling the environment and understanding that there was something dark here for sure. But yeah, the craziest thing was that evidence that was on my ghost story, and I like to call things data, but to me that was evidential proof that there was something in that house, because you've seen it. It's not just a personal experience; it's caught on video, and so you can say, "Oh, it was somebody," but if it was somebody, even with those crappy DVR cameras we had over 10 years ago, you'd still see physical traits within the person, and it was just a shadow person. It was solid black, and so there's credence to that as well.
So you for sure think it was demonic, and not just a regular darker spirit energy?
No, because it was just what was happening to Will, and certain things that was happening, and of course, a normal spirit could play a trick and sever my rosary, but a lot of the things of religious items being touched or destroyed or manipulated tends to happen in those more situations than anything. Like I said, it can happen outside of that realm, just the necessary feeling of it too, like. I know Claire claimed to be a psychic medium, a Claire. I like to tagline anything of those. I already get enough flack for being a demonologist and people not knowing who I am, saying you shouldn't be a demonologist. So I'm not going to claim to be a psychic medium and all these things either. But I think enough times doing it, and also, I do believe I have the gift of discernment, which is understanding where people are at, if they're telling the truth or not. But I also think that. That gift kind of also as well goes to the unseen, unknowable. And so when my body has, and it's only been a handful of times that I've actually ever truly dealt with a demonic case that I'd quantify as such. My body shivered, that fight or flight kicked in. I felt like I was getting punched in the solar plex. So all those things happen in those specific cases, and so I definitely lean towards it. I can never validate and 100% say it was, because then at that point wouldn't be the paranormal if we had answers for everything. But I lean towards that way, and in my being, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so if everybody wants to check it out, I don't know where you can find my ghost story, but it's my ghost story and Demon Shadow is the episode.
Yeah,
You mentioned, go ahead.
I'm still shocked that you knew that, and on top you did your research, but you can find it on YouTube. I forgot what season it was, but you can do some searching; it'll come up.
Yeah, perfect. So you mentioned Bob Bailey. I was gonna say Father Bob Bailey.
Yeah.
How did you start working with him? How did y'all collab? How did you get together?
So we worked that case, and then life happened, so we distanced, didn't talk to each other for almost 10 years. We're not working together right now because I did a recent step away because of some personal things on my life, bad decisions and other things I had to handle. But we were working together for about a year in a lecture group called Faith and Reason. We were also working on his healing ministry called Holy Sword Apostolate, which he's still running today. He now runs it with Father Ken Torres, but Father Bob's still a great friend of mine, and I confide in him all the time. I'd say he's my priest because I can confide into him in anything. But I worked with him for a year, and then that one case on my ghost story as well that was involved in that. Me and him, I brought him on. But yeah, he's such a great dude. He's a book of knowledge, on the Catholicism route, Catholicism. But he's been a priest over 30 years. So I have a lot of respect for that. It's not an easy life to um to and if you haven't heard of him or listened to him, do so. But he's pretty much been getting out there a lot now. He just got done with the Devil's Run tour, whatever it was called, with Nesper, and he was just on Expedition X. Yeah.
Yeah, for people should know Bob Bailey. I'm pretty sure everybody maybe familiar with the paranormal field. He was in the show with Paranormal State with Ryan Buell, and like James said, he's doing the tour with he was doing I guess he was the priest that was there with Annabelle and doing the tour.
He was. Yeah, and he was on Paranormal State for 11 episodes. I escapes me. That was a long time ago, but yes, that's what he was most known for until his just recent escapades with Nesper with Annabelle.
Yeah, I see he is getting a lot more, which is good. Different. I like that. I had a question. Your thoughts on so like I know paranormal investigators, and then you being in the ministry, like how you said I feel like people get a lot of like flack like for being paranormal investigators. I know I've heard it. It's like, oh well, you deal with demons or you call demons in or whatever. I kind of want to say, being an investigator, and we kind of touched about it a little bit on the backstage. I feel like people in the field who do this seem like they have more faith or believe more in something good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something more out there. You know what I'm saying? So like I can say I've lost a couple friends that I know from very, very long time who stopped talking to me because they're like, oh, she does this now. And, but I kind of want to say, like, I feel like maybe I probably believe in God maybe more than them, you know what I'm saying? Because of experiences in the paranormal field and kind of working with spirit and stuff like that. So like, what would you say to people who are like that?
Well, I'll play devil's advocate, actually. I'm actually going to support them for a second because I'm going to say is that, yes, I do believe your faith can get stronger, and mine has, being involved in this field and being specifically in demonology and dealing with the darker stuff. But in the same realm as it well, for those people that say, hey, you're dealing with a taboo, and it says this and this in scripture, and, there's a lot of opinions theologically. Well, one, also where I will support them, and I'm an oxymoron for this because I go against the fold, but I'm playing devil's advocate here, is that instead of just living a religious life, doing good deeds every day, we are kind of opening a doorway that maybe should emphatically be closed sometimes, especially if we're thrill seekers or truth seekers. If we're helping a family, like how I help a family is much different than I would if I run an event or doing it for an entertainment purpose at like a historical place. We're there for having fun, and we might be there for asking questions and figure out what's going to be there and have that experience. But that's more of a fun escapade than like a personal helping somebody out situation. So how you mingle those cases are totally different. So in reality, I could say, well, you're opening that door, you're talking something that you can't see. You hear these stories that it could be this, that, or that, but you're giving credence to somebody that actually really has no idea either that they've been given this message. So there are people that will play and say that this is the demonic leading you astray, and once you open enough and give them enough tension, that is when they will gravitate and uh, come into your life. And this has happened to people, right? So it is not a fact to say this. There has to have experience involved in this situation where people delved into things and then we're dealing with things. But so I got to play devil's advocate. It is dangerous, and I think some of the ways we come across it and some of the questions we ask get too personal, and we might be opening a doorway to something that we don't understand. We really truly, when people ask me what a ghost is, I can tell you 10 different theories, but the true answer is I don't know. And so if you're not being told that, and you're thinking this is what a spirit or ghost is, that you're lying to yourself, because there's no empirical evidence to say this is what a ghost or a spirit is or any of this stuff is. So yes, it is dangerous. So as much as I am an oxymoron and playing devil's advocate here, I do believe in some of it. I do believe that you should be cautious on how you approach communication, how you open that door, and also emphatically make sure you properly close that door, which a lot of paranormal investigators or ghost hunters do not do so. And I think that could lead to chaos in your life too, even if it's not something demonic, but something following you, latching off your energy, and manifesting in your life at your home. So there are dangers to it, but that's where you can get people like myself or very seasoned investigators like yourself, you guys, and be coached. This is how we open an investigation. This is how we close it.
Yeah.
And this, maybe ask certain questions. I know we'd love to get personal, because I really do believe Jeff Bellinger and Sam Baltrusis say similar very things, but they say like ghosts are people that still need to tell their story, or and so yeah, I do believe in that as well. But like you have to be cautious. The paranormal field is interesting, it's enthralling, it's exciting, um, but it's also very dangerous.
And it could be very scary. So I have a question. How would you recommend, what would you say to people how to close the door to that?
Well, it could be simply saying, appreciate you guys talking to us. You stay here. I would drink holy water or do incense before I leave, or say a prayer, a protection. Maybe even say a prayer for them, to have them stay there and know that they're not being able to follow me home, that this is their home. But if I also at times too, depending on the circumstance, like a lot of these popular places, they won't let you do it. But I'll offer a crossing over, like if it's just like I'll offer a crossing over prayer. I know Father Bob does that. You can't force them to cross over, but you can give that invitation that they're able to do so. So there's a lot of things you can do, and it depends on your faith. Some people will sage. I'm not a big sage guy. I hate the smell of it. But some people will put salt in their cars, smudge their cars. I know a lot of people do different things. So how I would do it would be that sense. I would definitely say I'd make a command saying you're not able to follow me, and thankfully, knock on wood, 99% of the time it's worked in my life. Only 1% have I ever really had a bad circumstance, and that was more ego than doing what I was supposed to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I would just say a simple, gentle command, respectable command, but also do what your religious or belief system and practices, as well as for spiritual protection.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you for that. Just
Nice.
for anybody rewatching,
Yeah.
you know, it's good to get different opinions on.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
some people do Native American background. They'll do a drum
Mhm.
circle, music. Like to me, my biggest thing is music. Right on the way there, on a bad case, I'll put music that raises my vibration, and then at the end, I'll have one that raises my vibrations as well. Just so that I'm at a higher level vibrationally than maybe what was there, so it can't interact with me or follow me, because I'm in a good peace of mind, good
Headspace, yeah.
headspace. Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Right. Yeah.
That
Good. Do something. Don't
Yeah.
just walk away.
Yeah.
that's a good point that you brought up there. I had a question that kind of ties into another question and what you mentioned. But you mentioned music. To me, I use that too, because that for some reason, like, I don't know, music it's in everything,
It's
and
therapy.
then
Music is
yeah,
therapy. Yeah.
it raises vibration and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Have you seen, kind of touching on what you said, have you seen a scenario where, say, investigators may have a negative experience, maybe because of how they are? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they say the place is bad or whatever, or they had a negative experience at a location, but maybe it's not even them, it's what they brought in, like their energy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, like, the person's energy. Or maybe they were a target because of maybe how much faith or not they how strong they are in their mindset. On top of that, what I'm saying, with dealing with psychology wise, like, have you seen a scenario like that where
Yeah,
somebody can be affected?
To simplify it and actually talk about a subject that's very important right now. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but the Conjuring House. We talked about it a little bit before we got on to here. Nothing bad, of course, for you viewers, but we're just talking about it because I asked if they ever been to Rhode Island. I said famously, Rhode Island's known for the Conjuring House, but the Conjuring House, I've always stated, and I know other people have stated that actually have gone there so many times and been involved with it. Will say that it's the house, and it's really the person that comes into the house that will get the experience that they're seeking, right? So if you come in negatively, the house will spit you out. If you go in there nice, then you will be treated with comfort and respect. And I've been there for parties. I've been there to hang out, and I've been fine. So, it really is and this is a new thought theory, laws of attention, laws of attraction, right? So it's your intent of going there and what you expect to attract as well. So if you go there with an incantation of that, that it is negative and evil and there's a demon there, you're already going there expecting something, and you know what? That expectation might come off through your psychic energy, your bubble, your biofield that we do have. That's science. We do have a biofield. So maybe that vibration comes out of our biofield. Maybe our thought pattern emulates into physical or verbal reactions. So I think that in a way is how you go to a location is how it will the experience you have. And that's not all the time, but most of the times, like the Conjuring House is a great example of that. And that's my opinion. People might disagree, but I'm not here to battle opinion. That's my opinion on it, and I believe that those are from my experiences as well. I never had a negative experience there because I never went there with that inclination that I'm going to have a negative experience. I try to go into most of these places with a level head, like I'm no confirmation bias, no biases at all. Like I'm here just to experience. If I experience nothing, okay, I had fun with the people that I was with, and I got to check out a cool place. If I have experiences, awesome, even better. But I'm not there to hope for something. I'm there, and so I think that's what a lot of people's problems are. They want to go to the Conjuring House. They want to go to visit Velisca Axe Murder House, and these ideas are in their head, and I think that we project it sometimes. And on top of it too, we have daily life, so we might suppress for that moment, but if we have things going on in our life too, the spirits there, if they are there, are going to feel that resonance from you. That okay, maybe they died from what you're dealing with right now, like a trauma, or like spousal issues, like marital issues, or depression, anxiety. They might feel that off you, and they might gravitate towards you. So if it's not negative, but you're there in that open state, like that you're going through issues in your life right now, and you're here, and they had that similar experience, they might gravitate towards you and attach to you and come home with you, because they feel at a level, like a level playing field with you, that they can like they have somebody that relates to them, and that person that relates to are going to be scared as hell. Most people are going to be scared as hell if there's things moving in their house, like regardless of your paranormal investigator. I know paranormal investigators that are strong, but when they go in and they see something move, I see them running, like or like somebody gets scratched, they yelling. So it's like, but yes, you have to be careful on how your mindset is when you go into a location, and what you have going on with your life at that moment.
So basically, spirits match your same energy.
I would agree. So yeah, and and like I will say, in most of my demonic cases, if you peel back that onion, and I'm a big cause and effect kind of guy, even though I can't find out all the times. Like I said, I can't ever really 100% come up with a conclusion. Most of those cases that dealt with demonic entities, there was a trauma prevalent. There was a trauma there, and that demon used that trauma against them to gain foothold in their life.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. We have Black Smoke, our friend, our friend
Stephen,
demonologist. Our friend Stephen. Stephen had a question. He said, "At what point in meeting someone do you say that the case is in fact demonic?" Or
that's a good question. I was going to ask that. Yeah, that's a good question.
I never will come out and tell the client that you're dealing with a demon. Personally, I might like walk into a location, feel all those feelings that I said earlier, and like start gravitating towards that. But I don't like to jump to conclusions. As I said, I think I beat that dead horse a couple times already. But it's really hard. It could take one time. It could take multiple visits. It could take a year, a couple months. So it really depends on what is happening. Like what phenomena is happening. Is there a portation with items going from one location to another location? Is there bilocation? Is there specific nightmares that are maybe coming true? Are people that were once sober, never drank, or did drugs in their life, now alcoholics or drug addicts? And what kind of traumas are going on that could be gravitating towards this? If they're claiming that they're possessed, psychological assessment's a must. So I need to understand if they're dealing with some sort of mental health issue, but that also doesn't eliminate the cause that or possibility that they could be dealing with something as well, especially if they do have schizophrenia and they're taking their medication and they're still experiencing things, and they've are taking a higher dose or whatever. It could still be happening. You got to be cautious, but you have to check that box off. You have to work with their doctors, their psychiatrists. But it's really hard to determine when. It's different for every case. Everybody's different. Like I said, there's 3 popular stages. There's many stages of like obsession and fixation and stuff like that. But the 3 most common known are infestation, oppression, and possession. Demonic infestation is, as it would be like if you have a rat infestation, there's something in your house causing mayhem and taking all the cheese. Second one is somebody's oppressed. That infestation happened, but somebody in the household is starting to hear voices, being told that they're not good enough, and maybe being physically and sexually abused by an unseen force. And then possession is when that person that's being oppressed, their willpower breaks, they give in. There's an invitational process where they said, I can't do this anymore. Their faith wavers and they blame God. That is alone an invitation for this thing to then take foothold, because then your foundation's broken, your castle walls are down, and now the enemy's invaded. So that is possession. So how each and every of those stages is hard. Infestation is a much easier route to get rid of. Oppression is a mild road, and possession's harder. But all three of them are still hard to diagnose, because with an infestation, you could think it's a normal spirit, or maybe something elemental, or something that you really could say it's this or that. Oppression, you start walking on the realm of mental health, checking that out. And then also what other activities going on in the house. Possession, once again, mental health, more mental health than anything. But you also have to what's going on with them. You have to play some trickery with them. Like one of the biggest things exorcists or even demonologists will say is come in the house with a religious object hidden, like putting in your pockets, common, but putting it in your shoe or your sock, or have it in your mouth, on your tongue, and it's but and then having that person say, I know that metal's there and it's there, right? So like that perception are things that can tell you, okay, that they are definitely possessed, or different voices. So there's different ways and methods to figuring out if there's a demon involved, but it's a hard process. And I could really honestly talk the whole show about it, because I have given Demonology 101 classes that were 3 hours long on a lot of methodology and ideology of it. And it could be longer than that. So.
Wow.
Talking, we have another question by Justin. He said, James, how do you feel about books on demonology, which you have a book coming out? Are they dangerous to have?
I hear that a lot, and I think once again it's the laws of attraction, laws of intent. What is your intent of reading it? Are you, there is a form of or research called demonology. Demonology is the study of summoning demons. To me, that's bad, but demonology, in the essence, is an academic study. And for the definition that Carl Johnson and I created when we when we were lecturing as duo demonology, was the study of the lore and cultural traditions of wicked spirits. So it's a study. It's a branch of off of angiology, which is off of theology. So it's a study first and foremost, right? So if you're interested in looking at the study of it, I don't see no danger in that. It's when you start applying it. Like I like to say I'm an applied demonologist. I take that study, that academia, and I look at it in a physical sense, like in a clinical sense. So that is dangerous, because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with unseen forces, and you're also dealing with yourself, and in your battle. But so the study of it is not dangerous. I don't think that you picking up a book to learn about the history of demonology is bad. Once again, you kind of let the cat out of the bag, Jen. Is I do have a history of demonology book coming out in sometime 2026. It's not March. Maybe it's March. Maybe April. I feel like it's going to be probably summertime. At this point. Maybe it'll be sooner. But I do have a history of demonology book coming out that talks about since Mesopotamian times to, of course, modern time with entertainment, pop culture. So I'm writing that because it is a piece of anthropological history. It is the development of our culture. Good versus evil. Theodicies, which were in Greek culture. Epicurus, which was a philosopher that coined that theodicy, which is good versus evil, is a big part of our culture, especially in modern times. So demonology covers a lot of that. And I think it's fascinating to look at how we look at evil, how we look at sin, how we look at people's perception of good versus evil. So it's not dangerous. It's just how you get involved in, like I said, if now you're using it for demonology and to summon, there are going to be dangers in that.
Your intent, right?
Yeah, and that's why I said laws of attraction, laws of intent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about any experience before or even after studying demonology that maybe has stuck with you? You were like, wow, like that's really scary, or something like that of, or that you have experienced?
Yeah, so scary is
Scary, but you're like, wow, like some people,
yeah.
Left an impression on you.
yeah, that's impression. We're like, wow, this shit is real, like.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I think all the good and bad things, regardless if it was real or not, or good or evil, has left an impression on me. I think every day it sounds corny and it's deviating away from that general question, but I learn something new every day. So every day is an imprint on my life. But I think that one of the cases was my first possession case because I actually, even though I was involved in demonology and applying it, I did not believe that demons at that point. Not every Christian believes in a demon. You know, I know many priests that thinks it's a form of mental health issue.
Mhm.
It's just your shadow self coming out. You know, Carl Jung right there. So, or it's an archetype. So, there are priests that do believe that. And so it's like I didn't believe in demons until that point. So that was a big imprint. I would say um I would say well gosh, there's so many to think of. I would say that my first experience at a Waverly Hills Sanatorium was crazy. Just the feeling of that premise. I think the coolest, most recent one was probably on the USS Salem. Shout out to Don DiCristofaro and the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates. Great people, great person, great location. USS Salem, a heavy cruiser. We were on there, small, intimate group of friends, and we were asking questions. And we were near the birthing room because they had a birthing room on the ship, and we caught it on video and audio, but we heard this woman crying, and of course everybody that was part of our group was in that one room, and we heard crying. And mind you, we are on a heavy cruiser, like on deck 3, and we are nowhere close to like the public, right? We are in actual shipping dock,
Mhm.
connected to electric boat, and the closest public streets probably hundreds of feet away. So we heard this woman crying, and that was an imprint because that was out of the many times I've investigated, one of the few times I've actually heard something audible instead of catching it through EVP. So, and of course that was more recent, so it makes it much more interesting that we all heard and caught it, an audible voice and audible scream. But once again, it's hard to pick which one probably takes the cake because they're all interesting. They all have a piece to my story, but
Yeah.
I also could talk. I talk a lot about, more so recently the past couple of years, um, that prolific demonic nightmare I had of me picking up a case and not meeting the family, having a nightmare of me killing them before I met them. And when I
Oh my
got there,
God.
that instead of killing them, but all their physical features and what they were wearing and how the house looked and all that stuff was true to the nightmare. That was a demonic infestation case, but that was also a big imprint because that was the first time that I realized that a demon can meddle in your life to either persuade you not to come or scare you. But
Mhm.
so yeah, those are some of the interesting things that have happened to me
Does
for the
that
past
happen?
couple years.
Does that happen a lot when you're going on these cases where you get these dreams, or is it just
That was the
certain ones?
that was the first one and only one,
Mhm.
to be honest with you. I'm not a dreamer, right? I
Yeah.
I go to sleep and I wake up. I don't remember anything. I don't wake up startled. Um, but that was one of the times that I actually did have a dream, and it was that nightmare. But it does occur if you do follow a demonologist or even exorcist. They do receive messages in their dreams or
Yeah.
have nightmares. It is a common occurrence, but that was my one and only time, thankfully.
Yeah.
Um,
For
but
sure. Yeah.
yeah, the demons do tend to meddle in your life, though. Like it might not be the craziest thing, but like, and I hate to always. I'm like a 99%er to believe everything's natural, and then there's 1% the paranormal. But I do believe that when you're dealing with the work that I deal with, there are going to be certain things thrown in your life that are trying to get you off that horse and to second guess yourself and try to defeat you, so you're not involved in that work. Because Ed Warren said it, but multiple people in the work and outside of the work have told me that I was chose to do this work. So if I
Yeah.
was chose to do this work, then dealing with demonic entities, what I would call the devil, I would assume knows me, and it sounds so narcissistic, but at the end of the day, I do feel like meddling in business beyond human understanding does put kind of a target on your back.
Right.
I think so. Like, I've heard of that. Like, saying people that are called out to help somebody with something in their house or residential or something, and they'll get the person who's helping gets affected at their own home, or they get like that visit beforehand going to the location.
Yeah.
To stop them or to deter them, be like, hey, look, maybe I don't want to be involved, and stop the person from being helped. I totally forgot what I was going with that.
Yeah, and those are the thoughts that are going through my head. Is like, I if I go there, I'm going to kill these people. And even though I have a strong faith, you something like that happens to you, you start to question reality, right? You start to wonder. But of course, if your faith's strong, you'll get off that real fast, right? If you have a strong willpower, then that it'll consume you for a second, and then you'll be able to deflect it away and realize what it was. And thankfully, my willpower and my consciousness is such, and I think that what my childhood trauma, prepared me for that. So it's kind of strengthened me to understand and come over things like that much faster. I will say earlier in my time doing this, the biggest pain was a psychological term called transference, which is when you take those people's emotions home with you. Because when you're dealing with dark cases, they're emotional, they're dealing with stress, they're dealing with anxiety, depression, they're dealing with all the things that we as humans don't like to deal with every day, and they're dealing with that on a constant basis. So for a while, if I couldn't help somebody, or if I had to leave them, or they told me a story, I would take that home with me. And to me, that is the most difficult thing to overcome as well on a human element, because psychologists deal with that all the time, therapists, psychiatrists. So that is a difficult thing as well. So not only do you have the spiritual aspect of it, you have the mental aspect of it, the psychological aspect of it. Then bad mental health also creates physical health. So you can have the triple whammy if you're not very cautious in this field or in this work.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Yeah.
What shows that? Well, I know all the ghost hunting shows, the main ones, and they like to throw the demon word around a lot. We kind of like say when we do events and stuff, we kind of, and then a lot of people that watch that, the younger crowd or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, it's demons and whatever. And how would you say that, or how would you tell people that it's not demonic and maybe it's just a negative spirit or something that's trying to like act, stuff like that? Like, say there's a place that we've gone to, and it's a spirit pretending to be the spirit of the one that's supposed to be there, the house spirit.
Right.
I called it out, and then ever since that, it doesn't like me, so it tries to run me off. But I'm like, whatever. But it'll not manifest. It tries to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Puff its chest out. Yeah.
Puff its chest out, right? Exactly. And I'm like, dude, you ain't that, please. But so
I was literally
more of the times it's not really. Everybody's like, oh, it's a demon, a demon, demon. And it's not like you said, a handful of times you're only really gonna even run into something like that or so serious. But there are like lower entities and spirits that they try to act.
They try to pretend. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, is because one thing I said earlier at the beginning, people love the worst case scenario, right? So they evil. If you look at statistical values of pop culture and entertainment, look at most movies that sell well or shows have best viewership. It has to deal with something negative or evil. Look at The Conjuring: Last Rites, prime example, hit over $1 billion in revenue and made it the most popular horror franchise ever. So people love the concept of evil. It's something that we deal with every day in our life, physically, spiritually. So it's a common occurrence to believe something is something when you don't know what it is, right? And at the end of the day, a lot of these YouTube or television series use it because they know it's going to receive those eyes. That's
Sells.
why
Yeah.
it sells. It's like back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. I think the term we used to call it sex sells, right? Now evil sells. Evil is a selling point. And so that has a lot to do with it. As far as you know spirits coming off as something as demonic, I think the one thing that we forget to tend to realize when we speak about spirits is that there is different types of hauntings. Residual is not intelligent, but it's like a tape recorder playing over and over again. Now we have the word intelligent. I think we lose that formality of what that word is when we talk about spirits, because if I call somebody intelligent and they're human, they're probably smart. They probably can articulate and formulate something. They probably know how to get on your bad side or your good side. Most humans are intelligent. Some are don't like to use it, but most people are intelligent. We have a human brain that analyzes so much data at a time, and so when we lose our body, in theory, right, our consciousness is really what it makes us, right? So if our consciousness disconnects from our physical body, they're still intelligent. They're still going to be able to formulate words. We might not be able to hear them because of some decibel range issue of how they speak through an astral plane, but they're still intelligent. So if they were negative in life, they're going to be negative in spirit, and they're going to also try to boast more than what they are. I know people that are so negative they feel like they believe they're so evil, right? And then they meet a serial killer or hear of a serial killer, and then there's always somebody more evil than them, or more negative than them. So, but negative people can be narcissistic and puff their chest and say, I'm this, I'm going to force you out. So but once again, and something I've kind of said, and I think will actually correlate to anybody, most people that I've heard talking about being involved in demonic cases, especially demonologists or even psychic mediums or somebody with a clear ability, is that if you're in the presence of a demonic entity, you're not going to want to be there. Yeah, it's not going to that the spirit's going to push you out. Your body, legitimately, your physiological reaction is going to tell you, don't be here.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel like you're walking through mud or quicksand. That feeling is gonna be continuous throughout that whole process. And I don't know anybody stupid enough like me to actually want to go head first into it. And so when you feel that, that is when you can start leaning towards that direction. But also, one of the things is what gets me is that if you feel if you're a paranormal investigator and you're not trying to sell it on YouTube or on television, it's like, okay, there are people like myself. Don't think that you are the white knight in this. Get somebody with more experience as you. I've always said, and something that I've always credited myself on, is that the more people you have in the boat, the faster the boat moves, right? If you're talking about like a paddle boat, but if it's a small boat with a lot of people, you might sink. But but most times you have more people on the boat with you. It's going to be better to get through a situation. So a band can't play by himself, like Jimi Hendrix did for a while, but most bands can't play by themselves. So it's great to bring more people on with you. So if you're dealing with an experience that you feel is demonic, call somebody in before saying, hey, it's a demon. If it's, because you could be mislabeling it, giving that negative spirit more power, and also affecting the homeowner by stating by telling the homeowner that you're dealing with a demon, and that puts them into a reactionary where they're questioning why they have a demon. They start doubting their faith. Why did God do this to me? There's a lot of psychological reactions that can happen to telling somebody that they have a demon in their house. So before you do that, call somebody in that's a specialist. I will say though is I did have one team call me in. I consulted them. I reviewed everything. I did my thing, and I told them I don't think this is a demonic case. I just don't think it is.
Mm.
You know, yeah, I could see why you believe it to be, but in my professional opinion, is that it is not. And they said that you're wrong. It is a demon. So sometimes people reach out to people and just want to hear what they want to hear. But I also got to admit that I could be wrong too. I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert, so I
Mhm.
could be wrong too. I just have the experience. I've just dealt with it enough to understand it. But once again, I could be wrong, and I have been wrong before. I maybe equated something to be something, and then I find out it's not, or I thought something was something and it wasn't. So yeah, I've been wrong before, especially in my youth. We're not right every single day, and we're not right every second of the day. But it's important to reach out to people before uh, calling something it's not, or it could possibly be. But really, if it was a demon, who's going to actually just be there filming it the whole time and saying, "Hey, yeah, it's a demon"?
Yeah.
To me, that somebody that's dealt with it, I can't see that. I truly cannot see somebody being there for 8 hours and filming an episode of their YouTube show or their television show, and it's a demon. I want it.
Where do you think they come from? Where do people get demon? What do they just happen? Where do you think demons?
There's a good question with that with Justin in the chat actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had asked, are demonic entities territorial?
Territorial. Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of goes in line.
Kind of goes
with
hand in hand. Yeah. So do they think do the people manifest it? Do they get an attachment? Yet they're not investigators. They don't.
Yeah.
They
It's like a regular.
people. Yeah, just regular people. Where do they come from?
So one thing most demonologists and theologians can agree on is that a demon is non-corporeal. That means it once never had a physical body. That means it is a pure spiritual force. So where it is, as a Christian, I believe in heaven and hell, right? If it's maybe it's more metaphorical or symbolic than actual place. Maybe it is another dimension. I do also look at elemental belief, astral plane or ethereal plane. So, that's a lot of theory. I can't, once again, when I said I do not know what a ghost is, I truly do not know where a demonic being gravitates towards to when they're sleeping at night. If they do, it was more of a joke than seriousness there. But I don't know where they go. I know that one fact I can tell you, and one thing that everybody agrees with me on in the demonology realm is that they're non-corporeal. Are they territorial? Yes, they can be in the sense if there's an infestation or a possession, that they don't want that person to be helped. They don't want that land to be helped. They want to terrorize it. They also could be territorial in the sense that maybe through occult practices, they were tethered to a item or a location, and they were binded to a place. And in that case, they would be territorial because that is where their domain is. So yes, and they can be territorial. They are non-corporeal, but so where they go, that is the big to know. I would truly think that in a symbolic sense, they go to what hell would be or could be. But once again, what is that? The only thing that I could say is possibly another dimension. And the metaphysical dimensions of that could talk more about that, like other dimensions, and vibrational energies.
Do you
So
think like wrong place, wrong time, like depending on the person's headspace?
it could be.
Yeah.
100%. It could be. It's not the case for every single one of them. Once
Right.
again, back to the devil's advocate, you could be involving yourself in occult practices or paranormal investigating, and wrong place, wrong time, or you're there doing something, and there might be some, like, once again, what you could be talking to could be masquerading as a spirit, as a person, once living person, and could be a demonic. It could be a demon. So it could be different scenarios, but once again, it will latch onto you because it knows it could torment you
yeah, it could.
and,
You're,
and twist you. You know, it could,
easy target kind of type in a
yeah,
sense.
easy target. They do tend to, there have been times in documentation that they have gone after the strongest target. Somebody like a Padre Pio who was strong in his faith, he was tormented by demons on a daily basis. But most of the times they will go with somebody that has lack of faith, troubling faith, mental health issues, addictions, traumas. But yeah, that tends to be the common scenario.
Gotcha. I just want to say I appreciate how you were honest and say I don't know, can't be 100% sure. I appreciate it about you.
You know what? One of the things is that I hear a lot is people talking theory as its fact, and it's unfortunate, but I can't do that. I've always been true to my word of who I am and what I do, and if I had an answer, I think I'd be the richest person in the world, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to be either. But no, it's the best thing you can say. Theory talk is great, debate is great, discussion is great, but having a conclusion is not, because we don't know.
We don't know. So I appreciate that
Thank you.
You say that, because I'm the same way. Yeah, I say the same thing.
So I wanted to bring up, like we mentioned earlier, you have 2 books coming out. One coming out this Friday, called the Psychological Dimensions of the Paranormal, and the next one, that's the history of demonology. Both books look really good. Like, I want to pick them up. I will. So can you talk about the one that's coming out on Friday?
Yeah, so this one is The Psychological Dimensions of the Paranormal, forward by Ron Iacovetti. And
Ron. I love Ron.
I love Ron so much. But I also love Lords. We can't leave Lords out of this. But yeah, so what it's about is, I have a love for psychology. I'm a psychology major. I am on my master's journey right now, and one of the things that I think about is how psychology looks at it. And there's 2 phases of psychology that looks at the paranormal differently. There's parapsychology that looks at the paranormal happenings of something, and then there's anomalistic psychology, which looks at the natural explanations of something paranormal, right? So I love both avenues. I was part of a parapsychology group. I was a New England supervisor of it. But I also love psychology and social science. And so I was like, I want to write a book where I observe it through a specific lens that is not too much belief, not too much skepticism. So like I say in the book a couple times, is I walk a fine line between skepticism and belief. It talks why people would believe, and with the skepticism of it, but it also looks at modern neuroscience and modern psychology approaches to why a lot of the things people deal with do have explanations and how it can be proven. And it looks at that. I look at famous hauntings throughout the world. I look at famous possession cases, known and not known. And I talk about why they could have dealt with it, and how professionals in that field look at it. I also talk about it, how I might look at it. But like I said, people are going to love it or hate it, likely hate it, because they're not going to be able to swallow that there's a different opinion out there, a specific lens that is more backed by science than traditional investigating. And it's it can be a hard pill to swallow for some people reading it. But one thing that I do in my research and in my investigating is I look at things through multiple different lenses. We talked about construction earlier, talk about psychology, talk about spiritualism or spiritual belief. I look at everything that I deal with on a daily basis, even outside the paranormal, through multiple different lenses. I use my IQ, I use my EI, emotional intelligence, how I will come across a happening that might happen. Do I emotionally react in a bad way, or I emotionally react in a good way? So I look at through multiple lenses on a daily basis. And so this is trying to have people observe the paranormal through a different lens. It's not asking you to take everything and believe in it, or say the paranormal is not real. I think that for a long time it was taboo, and thankfully more people are telling their stories. It is not trying to create a stigma on the field again. It's just trying to open people's eyes that there are other viewpoints of it. Like me and my buddy Frankie Adeo, who runs Neurovisor, shout out to him. It's neurologically biohacking your brain,
Oh, yeah.
opens your pineal gland. But he's doing actually paid research for Rutgers University right now, and he I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, we always talk about how he's a master's in social work, but we always say how psychologists look at people that are in the paranormal as the anomaly, right? We are the crazy people. It's not what happens outside the natural that's crazy. It's us believing that it actually happens, and and that is an evolutionary thing. It's a cultural thing. Since the beginning, first religion, which was animism, which was like cave paintings and believing everything had energy. And it kind of adapted into Eastern cultures, and then also Native American cultures. Everything was energy, and so a lot of what we understand as belief factors from that. So that's why I said there's 2 points of psychology. Look at it differently, but I want people to read it. And there's things in this book I don't necessarily agree with, but you know what? It's a lens that has to be heard. And on top of it, it kind of brings you down the rabbit hole, hopefully to do more research and ask more questions. I think that's the greatest thing about life every day. And this is, of course, paranormal related, but also life related, is when you stop asking questions, you stop living, right? So ask more questions and you might find an answer, but that answer is going to lead you to another question. And that's what this book is meant to do. Like I said at the beginning, I think privately, is if one person buys it and has kind of epiphany from it, great. If multiple people read it, half of them kind of open their point of view up to look at it maybe through a different lens as well, then great. It's there to engage people. It's a short read. It's like going to a buffet, having an hour and eating as much food as you can, and that's what this book is. It's not meant to be a long stay. It's meant to kind of give you all that meat and potatoes right in your face, and hopefully you don't regurgitate it. But I think people are, like I said, I think people will take something from it. Like I said, people will likely hate it because they'll probably think I'm creating a stigma of it again, but that's not what I'm trying to do. And I have to convey that through shows like this because people will think that, and hopefully they watch shows like this and realize it's not the point of it. But
so read it with an open mind.
Read it with an open mind. Yeah, like I'll read a little expert of my conclusion introduction right now. I said almost my conclusion, but I know But let me read you a little bit of my introduction. So over time, individuals have found themselves in the presence of the uncanny. There are moments when the known becomes unknown. Someone may arrive at a familiar location and suddenly become aware of a presence, evoking physiological reactions. Example, increased heart rate. These movements are entrenched in human culture and manifest in folklore, spiritual texts, and modern storytelling. Whether they are considered psychological events, reflections of the afterlife, or some other paranormal experience, there are serious boundaries between belief and skepticism. The question is not whether ghosts, demons, or spirits are real in a laboratory sense. Rather, the more interesting question, and the question that psychology is particularly qualified to ask, is why have human beings across cultures and centuries consistently reported phenomena such as these throughout their days? Why does the child in rural China, the monk in medieval France, and the office worker in present-day Chicago know eerily similar experiences? Why does the man dying of liver failure in see a tunnel of light? The widow mourning her husband think he appears at her side, or the young person who feels pressured and guilt-ridden while hearing voiceless whispers in the darkness that appear ancient and archetypal? That's a little bit a part of it, but once again, the book is kind of making you ask questions, and that's
Right.
that's
I
what I
love that.
want.
I ask a lot of questions. I think I will enjoy that.
Yeah,
I like that. Like, you know, in the field, like
ask her.
we always say, you know, especially during anything paranormal, you know, saying like you end up leaving, you maybe answer one question, but then you're like, well, how about this? You know, it's always might answer one, but then you have another rabbit hole that you go jumping into with the paranormal.
I can talk about theories all day long. Yep.
Theories of the
all day long. I can go on and on and on. Yeah.
It's that thing where it's like we end up coming across more questions that need to be answered versus what we have answered, and that's part of the interesting thing about it to me and my aspect is maybe if I answer all of the questions that I'm curious to know about, maybe I won't be interested in this anymore. So I think that's kind of the thing that piques my curiosity when it does come to the paranormal is, all right, there's a new point of view, or maybe, speaking with you now, I have a different lens to view things from. So that's the thing that always makes me
opens up the door for more theories.
And it's always good to learn from different people, learn different perspectives, learn why this person is skeptical or why this person is such a believer, and you come to your own
conclusion.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's like I have had experiences like there's things that, like I said, I might not agree on that I wrote in my book, but I've had experiences. I things that I can't negate towards common understanding nowadays in science, right? Yes, we have developed, back in the Inquisition where maybe up to 1 million people died. The actual number is unknown, but in the Inquisition, people that had schizophrenia or maybe had Down syndrome or autism or dissociative identity disorder or even were women were killed because they were either witches or possessed by the devil or vampires or werewolves. So we have developed a long road from then where we don't stone or torch people because they're different, or or they have a mental health issue or neurological issue that now we kind of have a better understanding of, not a full understanding but a better understanding of, and we can do therapies or medicines instead of just throwing stones at them and killing them.
Yeah, thank God we're not there.
You're right.
Just making it go viral on social media.
Yeah, right. Hey, oh gosh, that's like the bystander effect, right? You ever see that psychological study? It's like that'd be like that, right? Somebody's doing something stupid like that, and they'll just film it and get it on TikTok and helping the person. Yeah, they'll just. It's the bystander effect. It's like, okay, we'll just let it happen.
That's crazy. Yeah. Unfortunately,
it's the society that we live in nowadays. That's how
it's kind of a society we've always lived in, to be honest with you. Back then we didn't have social media, but once again, the Inquisition, there's troves of people watching people throw rocks at people, their loved ones, and not doing anything about it either. So, it's really actually a common occurrence through humanity more than we think it is. But of course, because of recency bias, we think it is. But throughout all of humanity, if you do anthropological studies or look at history really with a specific lens, you'll see that we really haven't changed much. We just have gotten more modern in the sense of how we use technology, which in reality also kind of has made us stupider than we once were.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, instead of writing essays, like 10-page essays, people are ChatGPTing it nowadays. So just think about that. So
well, before you had to be there to see it, but now everybody can freaking see it from the freaking comfort of your own home, which is stupid. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's
I'm grateful for technology. I love technology, but
Oh, I think I do too. I'm a techie, but geez, but it really think about it, like how detrimental to society it's been.
It
But
is.
it also once back in the demonology sense, making this paranormal. Yes, it's given the ability for people to realize other people deal with this, so it's less of
Yeah.
a taboo. They can speak about it.
Yeah.
But it also has opened it's also opened the envelope to people to realize evil exists in the form of fashion, and people become obsessed with it and want to deal with it or invoke it. Like somebody watches a documentary on a serial killer or watches these YouTube series about, they become a serial killer. Who knows? Like there's a good and a bad way. It's a
All this
double-edged
shit that's
sword.
happening in the world. It's like, are you copycatting somebody else because you've seen it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It really is.
There's always the good and bad of everything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good is, like mental health, people are talking about it. People
Yeah.
are, understanding it. Before it was like shined away or nobody talked about it, but now people are talking about it, making more people feel comfortable to say they have, depressed or they're depressed or whatever. But that other shit, I feel like it's a bad thing. Yeah.
I know you touched on the history of demonology, the next book, right?
Yeah, it's called History of it's called The History of Demonology. Yeah, it looks at the cradle of humanity, which is Mesopotamia, and talks about modern pop culture. It really looks at it through every avenue. Like, I like to say I'm an eclectic Christian because I like to look at different religions and belief systems and equate it to how I observe things. So it looks at how demonology has evolved throughout history. And I think that's going to be more to who I am and what I do in this field. But I think that's, there have been books done like it. And there have been books done like this book as well. You just have to kind of get in the psychology realm of literature. But, I think it's a book with a different different structure than what I've read in the past. It's not... it's not an entertainment book in the sense where there's pictures. It's an academia book. It's right. It gives you points. It breaks it down. It talks about Eastern traditions, Native American traditions, African mythologies, Greek mythology. It really dissects every historical value of the adaptation of good versus evil, or evil in itself, and how we look at it and have studied it. It's going to be a fascinating book. It's about the same length as this one, if not maybe a little bit bigger, like by like a couple pages. But I can't dedicate more time than what this book's length is. But it took me 10 years to write 2 books. I've been saying for over 10 years that I'm going to write a book, and I finally, in my 8-month break, that I disappeared from everything, I actually dredged out 2 books while also being a parent of 2 kids and going to college for a master's degree. I did it. I finally did it. It feels great.
Yay!
Nice.
And then I'm definitely looking forward to actually getting the 2 books and reading them. So good.
Yeah. So you can right now it's the first book is right now up for pre-order on Amazon. If you go to my Facebook or even my website, which I saw somebody post on this chat, thank you very much.
And it's on the description box of the show.
Yeah, it'll there's a link on my website that brings you to Amazon, where you can pre-order right now for Kindle, and then the physical version releases actually on Friday, where you can buy.
Are you going to have an audiobook? Are you doing an audio version of it?
I do not know. I ain't the greatest person at pronunciating things sometimes. I can type it and understand it, but my pronunciation skills, I have a speech disorder that I've never battled. I've battled since I was a kid. So sometimes I sound like a mumbling fool, but
oh God,
if I could have somebody read it that could put that and do it, I'd be up for it. So if you know, like a voice.
Oh my God, I want to do it.
Hey,
I'm serious.
She's good at reading.
Hey, if you want to pick up the book and read it and send me read it first, so you're not like having to work. But if you read it and you really want to give it a second read and you want to record yourself reading it, please do so. I'm not going to say no. And if it sounds great and we agree, hey, I'll throw you a percentage of each book sale on the audio side. So it's
I
fine with
would
me.
say I would do it too, but I can't pronounce. I'm with you.
I'm telling you, I've been looking into actually doing like voiceovers for this, so this is like right on my alley.
Hey, this could be your first job. You won't make much money off of this, but you at least be an experience, right?
Cool, I love
Your
it.
resume. It'll be something. Not only paranormal investigator. Now you're an audiobook reader, or voice, or
That's fine
whatever
with
you
me.
call it.
I love it because I enjoy reading it. Like I really do want to read it. So
Yeah. See, I prefer the audio. That's why I asked you audio. I can't. My attention span is like this big. So
I love audiobooks.
yeah.
So.
No, definitely. Hey, my sounds like it might be in the work with Jen. So
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to that, folks.
Yeah.
James, I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us this Sunday. Amazing show, amazing topics. It has been a pleasure to meet you and to speak to you.
What an absolute great guest to have us to wrap up Halloween month.
For
and
sure.
James, please use this opportunity. Plug yourself. Tell the good folks where they can find you besides the books that you have coming out. Where else can they go to search for you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at JamesAnnitto. What you see on the screen, or if you're listening audioly, it's that, or jamesannitto.com, just a .com after my name, or if it's easier because my name is interesting sometimes to spell, demonology.org. Also links to my my website. Or you can go on Amazon if you're interested in the book. Put my name in, my book will pop up. Really just shows right now. I'm not doing any tours right now. I do have somebody working on booking stuff for me because I'm just too busy, and I promised my family I wasn't going to dedicate too much time to dealing with this again. But I'm looking to get around a little bit and get physical copies out in there and sign people's copies as well. So might be some updates and news on that, but we shall see how the family agrees with that. But first and foremost, purchase my book on Halloween. And if you like it, please leave a review for me. The more reviews I have, better chance somebody will pick it up or see it on the stat board or leaderboard thing, even jiggy they got. But that's really all I have going on.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And well, James, if you like to stick around, we're gonna do some announcements. But if you gotta go and spend some time with your family the rest of your Sunday, we do appreciate your time with us.
Yes, it's very nice meeting you. Yeah.
You too, Joy, Joey, Jen, and Mondo. It's like a tongue twister. Joy and Joey. JJ Paranormal, yes. But I'm definitely going to have to jump off. I would love to talk to you guys again. Maybe have me on again in the future.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go spend time with the old lady.
Oh, say hello to her from us.
Thank you. Will do. I love you guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So like I was just mentioning, we do have some announcements to make. First of all,
thank you for the birthdays. Appreciate everybody.
Sorry, you guys. My eyeballs have been itching this whole time on the show. I'm like, I'm gonna scratch them off.
We have some news, and thank you all for wishing our co-host Joey a happy birthday, man. You guys rock. Thank you for that, and thank you for your interaction with the chat. Yay. Definitely appreciate it.
His heart is filled.
For more love to JJ Paranormal. They have something cooking up for you guys.
Yes, a new episode dropping when?
Thank you both. I don't know. He's off tomorrow, so I might just release it tomorrow because I want my peeps.
What time tomorrow?
I don't know. What time do you think, Miss 3:05?
No pressure.
I go to work Tuesday morning, so I don't know. Don't be too late tomorrow.
If I do a premiere, is anybody going to tune in?
Listen, tune in to Joy's premiere tomorrow.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just fucking release it.
You better freaking do it.
But I want you there chatting to see what you think because I know you're like.
Yes, I'm going to be there chatting.
Jen is like behind the scenes, you guys. We like talk all the time about this stuff. So
yeah.
We like to talk about it, and we like tacos too.
And I'll give her like she'll tell me what she thinks, and so I love it. I love it. That's why I love you guys all there too, but
We
I
also
shouldn't
have,
I shouldn't have said the butt. Sorry, the butt makes it.
No, I was gonna say Michael, our good friend Michael Hanna, is
Yeah.
in the video that
True.
Joy's gonna throw out, and
You guys-
all love Michael. So please
Yes.
Really
tune
good.
in.
Yeah.
speaking of friends of the show, we have our great friend Joe, or like our kids like to call him Uncle Joe.
So Joe.
Joe is back with
Flora Weirda.
Flo Weirda is back, his show that he does.
Is that a show?
And
Yeah,
if
he
you
used
like
to do a
that,
podcast called Flora
Oh,
Weirda.
okay.
and it's all of the weird history of
Florida.
this great state that we live in called
Oh,
Florida.
nice. Okay.
So
Really
he's
good. He does a
coming
really
back
good
with
job.
it. He's
Yeah.
doing he's bringing out the episodes again. He had done it before, paused, and he just released an episode. And
And a new
Jenny's
one
gonna
is-
Vanna White the episode here.
This right here, Ancient City. This is the new one that's coming out. I think he said Tuesday.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So it's coming out on Tuesday, and
I already heard it. It is very, very, very good. I am spoiled. I look at everybody's shit and I listen to everybody's shit before it comes out. I feel so happy. Thank you so much.
and then he's also blessing us. So Halloween is this Friday. We have James's book coming out on Friday, and we have episode 2 and 3 of the new season of Flora Weirda also dropping on Halloween Day.
Damn, son.
So I mean,
much
what
stuff.
more do you guys want on top of Halloween Day?
Yes, Joel's
But
been
we do have a really cool last announcement to make, and I'm making it a little bit of ahead of time.
I was
just
gonna.
so
I
we
think
can
yes. I was
more
gonna say.
eyes on this.
Oh, God,
So
what is it?
year one, we had the pleasure of seeing JJ Paranormal do their thing live on Spooked Coast to Coast when they went to go and investigate David Omen's house.
You
Year
guys were there.
two.
though?
Yes.
Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that was a yeah.
Year two,
I forgot
you
about
guys will have the ability to see 305 Paranormal, Jenna and Mondo, as we go and live investigate Gold Coast
Like, they don't know
Railroad
who 305
Museum.
is.
So that's not going to be this week's episode.
gonna
That's
be-
going to be the episode of the week after. So
that.
that's going to be
November 8th.
Saturday, November
Yes.
8th.
Okay.
So tune in. We're telling you guys so that way you can be on live and while we go and
So
investigate.
no Sunday show. It'll be a Saturday. And so
Correct.
The weekend of November 8th, we won't have a show November 9th because we're going to do it live November 8th.
Saturday.
And we'll be investigating a location.
And we get to ask questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get to investigate with us and ask questions in the chat. And yes, it's going to be very good. We're
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, you guys.
Just to let you guys
tune
know, we might be in the car, so our situation might be a little.
Yeah, I know. Because
Yeah.
you guys are going to somewhere cool.
Hopefully.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Oh,
Ashley said yes. Exactly.
in. Be
what
sure to
time?
tune in
Do you
for
guys
that.
know what time yet? Because we're still waiting on the funeral dates.
I mean, if we can do it still 6-ish, I think it'll be fine.
6-ish or 7-ish.
Okay, just if
Whatever
worst,
time you
if worst comes to worst, I might just have to be in the chat, depending if it's a funeral that day.
Yeah, you let me know.
That you guys are okay, because we're still waiting on word for the
Yeah.
funeral. So
No
we
worries.
might, either way, we'll be there somehow.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Well,
have some time.
well, closer to date, you will let us know.
Yeah, we'll let you know as soon as we know what's going on. But
So yeah, guys, we're super excited about that.
I'm
That's
too
our
excited
favorite
too.
location that we've done quite a bit. So we're excited to share that with you guys,
Mhm.
and you guys have the date now, so you can
Tune in.
and check us out. Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Halloween this coming Friday.
Halloween.
Have some spooky fun. Have
Yeah.
some fun with your families, and
Mhm.
most
candy.
importantly, be safe and
Yes,
check
be
your
safe.
candies. I
Check your
don't know.
candies, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Show us your kids' costumes. I think everybody, y'all heard of what is K-pop Demon Hunters? That's what our kids are gonna be, of course,
Ah.
like every other child in the universe.
Yeah.
It's so damn
That's
popular
the
right
thing
now.
right now.
Exactly.
You know, it was everything has its moment right now. So
Yeah.
I love that movie. though. I
that's
can't.
it's pretty catchy. I had to watch it with the girls, and it's pretty good. I gotta admit, being a fan of anime.
See,
shows-
Shannon's like, I love
Yeah,
So good.
it's right up the alley. Just adding the music to it. So yeah, and we're looking forward to that. And well, as always, please remember, if you want to get spooked, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, and please feel free to comment on this episode. Tell your friends.
Outro was on fleek. Y'all, you see how he just kind of swooped in there and just.
Tell your friends, tell your family. We will be back live next Sunday.
Yes, be there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye. Thank you for the birthday.
Bye, guys.
Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Halloween.
Mean it.